you've been stagnant in your fan base growth for a while, it can be depressing. I mean, science literally says one of the causes of depression is to feel like you're not making progress. Plus, you want your dreams to come true and to grow your fan base so you can make money, and let's be honest, you want people to adore you and you'll get to hang out with way cooler people. But there's a lot of concepts and actionable things you can do to make growth happen so you level up to the next level. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to understand how you level up to the next level and stop being stagnant. I often think of building a fan base like a 10-step ladder. At the bottom of the ladder is under 10K monthly listeners, and those are the hardest to build. The second rung of the ladder is 10 to 30K, and then it's 30 to 60, and well, you can see the rest on the screen. Now, everyone agrees the first two steps on the ladder are far harder than the rest of them for new artists. But the thing that all these steps of the ladder have in common is whichever step you're on, you feel like no one's spotting you, and absolutely no one can tell you how to get your leg to lift to the next rung. So let's first talk about the difference between the first two rungs of the ladder compared to all the other rungs. When you're on those two rungs, your biggest problem is just about no one is giving you opportunities. And when you ask people for opportunities, even getting 1 out of 20 of those opportunities can be a good batting average and mean you're doing pretty well. So many people give up and stop working and shoot themselves in the foot by getting discouraged after 2 or 3 no's when they reach out for collabs, playlists, or shows, or any other opportunity in the music business. But the first thing I always tell everyone, no matter what rung they're on, but especially the bottom rungs, is resilience is what matters. And what I mean by this is the same way if you started playing guitar or keyboard or yelling on the mic, after a few minutes at first, your fingers or voice will hurt and you'll have to stop. But when you've been doing this all for a minute, you get a callus and can soon do it for an hour or even hours. And when you've been reaching out to people a lot, you start to realize rejection is just part of the path and it just gets less and less as you grow. But if you don't do this reaching out and you just get beaten down by it, well, you never grow to the next level. In order to grow, we need to get used to no's and see them as part of the journey. Stephen King, the most prolific and successful writer of our times, he would hang rejection letters on his wall because he saw them as part of the journey of how you get to a yes. And it showed him he was putting in the work that he needed to get done to get his first books published. That's the right attitude. But let's next discuss what gets you to the next step and the concept you really need to understand to get there. If you've watched this channel thoroughly, you may have heard me talk about a concept most people don't get, which is that the opposite of aura is slop. So for those of you who aren't teenagers with an avid understanding of the discussion around whether Netspend's latest record is mid or not, allow me to explain. Slop is what we see every day. Artists putting in no effort and making an AI video of them in a Corvette that takes them like 30 seconds to generate and then post. Or it could be another video of someone in their pajamas singing in their bed to a song. Then we have mid, which is when things have a little bit of effort put in, but they aren't like really impressive. They're just what we see kind of a lot. If we already like an artist, mid can be fine. It can be just there to entertain the fans real quick. We'll be glad to see them and hear their song, and it's good enough for our fans' attention spans to stick with us. But aura is when an artist makes something super sick. The video or look where we can't believe they could even think of this. Now, this is of course a scale and not absolute. There's of course even mid-slop, where you're kind of doing something that's easy to do, but it's mid, and one person's mid can be another's aura. But aura is rarely, if ever, mistaken for slop. So now let's discuss the actionable things you do with knowing this to level up. The great secret of growth, no matter what level you're on, is what gets you to the next step is often leaning more into aura. But let me explain why. You may have seen one of these statistics that seems to drop every week about how many songs flood the apps. Whether they're AI or not, they never even get a single play since they're slop. But what we have to think about is that in this crowded environment is what will get us seen amongst all these other artists. And the thing I keep reminding all of you is that it's important when people are scrolling that they see you as an artist with your own unique personality, which is of course often perceived as aura. And when people see you as a unique artist and you make a type of music they like and your song even sounds pretty damn good to them, well, then they feel like they need to know it in order to fit in with other people, especially the people that they will potentially hang out with and that they look at having aura that they want to be down with that probably know who you are because they're so damn cool in their minds. And that's the secret sauce of music promotion. Now, the smarter people amongst you are thinking,
Jesse, that's all well and good, but that takes artist development, and I have no idea how to do that.
Well, luckily for you, I've been writing a book on that. And it's available free to any of my members on this YouTube channel, which you could find a link to below. It costs you a whole $5 a month. But the key here is we want to figure out what makes you unique as an artist and lean into it, and then bring that out even more in your songs, music videos, photo shoots, and short form videos. Then we need to get a vision not only for what you're going to do today, but what you're going to do next to level up from there as an artist. In fact, sometimes you see a really cool thing you could do, but you don't quite have the funding and resources to get it done. So you're going to create something now that is going to be a bridge that when you grow bigger and have a bigger budget, it'll bring you to the thing that has more aura and is way more cool. You can, instead of thinking, oh man, I can't make this cool idea I want, think about the concept that will get you to that in between and then act on that. And I know some of you do have this big problem that nothing you ever make seems cool enough and it never looks good enough, and you need to hire people to help, but you're broke as fuck. Well, luckily, I have help. If you want to get financial help to make songs with better producers, video directors, hire a creative director, or do better marketing without signing a contract that gives up a big percentage to a record label for a crazy long license so you can level up, you may be interested in the sponsor of this video, who I'm thrilled to show you, which is Beatbread. They've helped countless artists level up with what they do by using track advances over the last 5+ years. And if you aren't familiar with them, they offer flexible masters and publishing advances that provide financial freedom for independent artists, labels, songwriters, and rights holders without having to give up ownership. Their mission is to empower artists so that they can own their art and control their careers by giving them funding and more choices to select the promotion, marketing, and production partners that may best fit their unique needs. What this means is you can get an advance on future royalties so you can level up the next thing you make without the strings attached of a record contract, someone messing with your creative vision, and not having to be beholden to that person for years and tons of negotiations. Beatbread lets artists customize and select their own deal structure from hundreds of options depending on their own needs to level up their future. Musicians need funding at key moments to market and promote their new EP, to go out on the road, or just get in the studio with that great producer who can take a career to the next level. Beatbread makes it super easy to find out what your catalog is worth and get advanced so you can make that high aura creation that will get you to the next level. You can even enter your Spotify artist profile into Beatbread and get a quote on what they may offer you, and you see a quote instantly. Head to the link in the description to go to Beatbread and get your own customizable quote and show support for this channel, since we need all the help we can get here these days. Okay, but we were talking about how you level up. And one of the things we have to talk about is data, aka the great terror of musicians' minds, self-esteem and mood. I get it. I've talked before about how I only read my analytics once a week on Fridays at 6 p.m. Since if they aren't showing me something I like, an hour later, I'll be out to dinner with friends or doing something I like instead of dwelling on it. This is because you can lose your self-esteem and your will to create if you're constantly looking at views and likes and making yourself beholden to them and making your self-esteem matter by how well you've done with them. And what makes even less sense about this is that views and likes aren't even the right things to be looking at. Instead, we want to look at the data that will tell us what to change. If you're continuously looking at that data and seeing that your average view time is better on a certain video, you can learn to do something like that the next week. If one video got more shares and went in the algorithm, you can learn lessons on what you can do from that in the future. And if you want to learn more about this, I made a full 4-hour course that's 100% free on this on my channel, and the link for that is in the description. Now, one of the biggest factors that changes when we go back to that fame ladder is that once you're above level 2, it becomes much more that your hardest decision is what opportunities you should pursue rather than having to create opportunities for yourself all the time. But the biggest part of leveling up is how you make those decisions. Part of the workbook I talked about earlier that I am writing is so you have backbone to know when someone is pushing you to do something that you shouldn't. And truly, one of the things I see that so many artists regret in their career and how they don't end up leveling up is that when they don't know who they are, they move like a ping pong ball through decisions, having no clue what to do, since they don't know who they are and anyone can change their minds, since they have no basis of how to make decisions and what is the right thing. And if you find yourself constantly wondering what the right decision is for different things, a lot of that is because you need to get to know yourself and who you are as an artist and who you want to be as an artist in the future. And that's what this workbook helps you learn. We need to form a point of view and artistic backbone so you make good decisions. But if we want to level up, we also have to talk about investing in growth. And luckily, here I'm strictly talking about time and smart practices, not spending money. What I mean by investing in growth is doing things that make sure that the fans who like what you do are able to keep staying in touch with you. For example, you want to be doing my close friends funnel on Instagram, since Instagram loves punishing you if you put a link in your story to Spotify or YouTube. But if you do this in your close friends story funnel, you can link to those videos to the people most likely to click on them. And if you want to go deeper and learn more about that growth mechanism, click on the link in the description. But we should also be doing smart things to get people on your email list. This could be putting an unreleased demo or cover exclusive to your email list and sign up that you're then going to share on that close friends story funnel. Making sure you collect emails with zip codes at live shows all make sense so it can activate fans when you have new songs or videos go up, or when you come back to the area where they gave you their zip code and email address. This all also makes it so that when you put out each song, you have more people who are most likely to drive you into the algorithm easier, and you grow each time you're growing that email list, and you have these people who are enthused about you, who are likely to listen to the song multiple times, getting emailed right when the song comes out. That makes it more likely your popularity score gets driven up fast and you go into the algorithm and the algorithm makes you new fans and you keep leveling up. And you can do this all while you're sleeping if you just do the right things to grow. Lastly, the biggest factor with going up a level is how we call attention to ourselves. One of the biggest questions I get is about whether an artist should hire a publicist. The first thing I try to instill in them is that publicists can only call attention to something, and unless it's exceptional, it won't really matter if it gets attention. Think of it this way. If they call attention and your stuff is total slop and not good, it doesn't do anything. But when you call attention to something that is truly exceptional, that you worked hard on with exceptional aura, that spreads because people see it and send it to other people. The publicity does not get the attention of a lot of people ever. It gets the attention to something that is great, and then people spread it. That is the biggest mistake people make about publicity. And I have to be real. Most of the time these days, when people try to pay off a publicist to put out some slop, the publicist can't even take it and get any coverage and can't take your money. But the best publicity for a great creation can get you 2 notches up this ladder of fame that we're talking about. The key really is you better have great songs and visuals, or else it's something that won't even take you up 1/100th of a ladder rung. So here's the thing. While you just learned this, if you really want to grow your fan base, you need to understand the mistakes artists constantly make on social media today, which is on this video, on the screen now, or in the description. So make sure you watch that next if you really want to level up. Thanks for watching.